Kneel before your new rulers or Earth will burn. Supreme Commander Belos's bone-chilling ultimatum blared from every screen, every speaker, as his massive alien fleet eclipsed the sun. Giant warships, bristling with advanced weaponry, hovered ominously in near-Earth orbit, poised to annihilate the human race at their leader's command. In the UN Security Council chamber, tense world leaders huddled around a conference table as they wrestled with the invaders' demands. Panicked chatter echoed off the walls, with many urging immediate surrender to spare Earth from destruction. But one man remained defiantly silent, his steely eyes fixed on Belos's alien visage. Lewis, grizzled veteran and commander of the Omega Squad, humanity's most elite special forces unit. As heated arguments erupted around him, Lewis stood and slammed his fist on the table, the impact reverberating through the chamber. Surrender? Kneel to these alien bastards? Lewis spat contemptuously. That's not an option. Not now. Not ever. We fight back. With everything we've got. Incredulous stares met Lewis's declaration. These were not warriors, but diplomats, bureaucrats. Hesitantly, the Secretary General spoke up. Commander, with all due respect, what chance do we stand against a force of that magnitude? Our defenses are already crumbling. Louis leaned forward, his gaze intense. We have a chance. The Omega Squad, my team. We were built for this moment. Louis regaled the astonished council with tales of his squad's enhanced abilities, their bleeding edge gear and weapons. Each member was a superhuman in their own right. Lieutenant Makoto Tanaka with hyperkinetic reflexes, Sergeant Tanya Orlova's telekinetic mastery, Corporal Adna Kumalo and his adaptive camouflage skin, Captain Victor Petrov's nanobot-laced regenerative biology. A hushed silence fell over the chamber as Lewis detailed the Omega Squad's secret training. Their years spent honing themselves into the ultimate fighting force. Deploy us, Lewis urged, his words ringing with steel conviction. Let us take the fight to the enemy, cut off the head of the snake, kill Belos, throw their invasion into chaos. We can do this. Frantic whispers raced among the council members, uncertain glances thrown Louis's way. But as reports flooded in of alien shock, troops decimating Earth's orbital arrays, of dropships burning across the skies, the decision became clear. It was a desperate gambit, sending a single squad against an armada. But if the Omega Squad failed, humanity would fall, crushed under the cruel fist of alien hegemony. As Louis stalked from the council chamber, every step filled with deadly purpose, the fate of the Earth hung in the balance. The Omega Squad was humanity's last hope, their final line of defense against the ravenous Nigean horde. At the Prometheus's launch bay, Louis strapped himself into the stealth ship's command chair, his fingers dancing across the control console. Around him, his squad took their stations, faces etched with focused intensity, each a coiled spring ready for action. A fierce smile tugged at Louis's lips as the Prometheus knifed into the starry void, rapidly closing on the looming alien dreadnoughts. The arrogant bastards never saw them coming. Time to show the Nigeans what humans were really made of. Time to send these alien overlords straight to hell. An ear-splitting alarm reverberated through the Prometheus's cramped confines as the ship hurtled towards the Nigean armada. Lewis's eyes locked onto the sensor readout, his blood running cold at the sight. Massive energy surge detected from the flagship, Tanya shouted over the klaxon, her fingers flying across the console. They're charging up some kind of weapon. Power levels are off the charts. Louis banged his head against the bulkhead, a sinking realization in his gut. Belos wasn't just posturing with his ultimatum. He fully intended to burn Earth to ash as a warning to any other would-be rebels. He's gonna glass the whole damn planet, Lewis growled, his mind racing. The original infiltration plan wouldn't cut it. Not anymore. They needed to stop that weapon from firing at any cost. New plan, people. We're splitting up, Lewis barked, bringing up a holographic schematic of the Nigean fleet. Team Alpha, with me. We're going to board that weapon platform and take it out before it can fire. Team Beta, Marcus, you stick to the original objective. Find Belos and take that bastard down. The Prometheus shuddered as it weaved through a hail of plasma fire, banking hard towards the pulsing weapon platform. Lewis felt the familiar rush of adrenaline as he checked his gear, the weight of his exosuit a comforting presence. This was what they'd trained for, what they'd been built for. Time to earn their keep. With a bone-jarring clang, the Prometheus latched onto the platform's hull, cutting through the alien alloy like butter. Lewis was the first one through the breach, his weapon at the ready as he scanned for threats. He didn't have to wait long. A phalanx of Nigean soldiers swarmed the corridor, their chitinous armor glinting under the harsh light. Lewis didn't hesitate, his enhanced reflexes kicking into overdrive as he charged forward, a blur of motion. His first shot took a Nigean cleanly through the head, spattering the wall with viscous ichor. Behind him, the rest of Team Alpha surged into the fray, a whirlwind of deadly precision. Tanya ripped a bulkhead from the wall with her telekinesis, crushing a group of soldiers like insects. Adna shimmered out of sight, only to reappear behind the enemy line, his monomolecular blade flashing as he cut through them like chaff. Even as they pushed deeper into the platform, Louis could feel the deck plates thrumming beneath his feet, the weapon charging up for its devastating strike. They were running out of time. On the flagship bridge, Marcus and Team Beta materialized out of thin air, cloaking fields disengaging as they fanned out in a practiced formation. The Nigean command crew barely had time to react before the Omega Squad was upon them, a flurry of strikes and gunfire. But even as his team pressed the attack, Marcus could feel an oppressive pressure building in his skull, a force that sent him staggering. He looked up to see Belos rising from his command throne, eyes blazing with psionic energy. "Did you really think your feeble human minds could challenge me?" Belos sneered, flicking his wrist and sending a wave of force slamming into the Omega soldiers. Marcus gritted his teeth, reaching deep within himself to summon every scrap of telekinetic strength he possessed. He could feel Belos's power bearing down on him, an ocean of raw, unfettered might. But he wouldn't yield. He couldn't. As Lewis and Team Alpha blasted their way into the weapon control room, they skidded to a halt, staring in horror at the sight before them. The planet killer loomed in the center of the chamber, a swirling vortex of dark energy that seemed to drink in the very light around it. "Beautiful, isn't it?" a voice called out, echoing with cold precision. Louis spun to see a tall Nigean emerge from the shadows, his dark robes billowing. "The Singularity Core, the heart of our empire's might. With this, we will bring the galaxy to its knees." "Like hell you will," Lewis snarled, leveling his weapon at the figure. "We're shutting this thing down right now." The Nigean merely laughed, a cruel, hollow sound. "You still don't understand, do you? This is only the beginning. We will conquer, we will subjugate, and you, little human, have the opportunity to be part of that glorious future. Join us, and you will have power beyond your wildest dreams." Lewis's finger tightened on the trigger, his voice icy as he stared down the alien scientist. "I'd rather die on my feet than live in your twisted empire. We're going to stop you, whatever it takes." But even as the words left his mouth, Louis could feel the deep thrum of the Singularity Core, the room shaking as the planet killer powered up for its deadly purpose. All around him, alarms blared and warning lights flashed, a countdown to Earth's annihilation. The Omega Squad was out of time. Lewis wiped sweat from his brow, his eyes darting between the pulsing Singularity Core and the Nigean scientist. The room shook around them as the planet killer charged up. "We're out of time," Louis growled. "How do we shut this thing down?" The Nigean scientist Dr. Xerix hesitated before speaking. "The weapon requires xynathium to power its black hole generator. Without it, the device is useless." Louis's mind raced. "Where's the xynathium stored?" "In a fortified chamber deep within the platform," Xerix replied. "But you'll never reach it. The security—" Louis cut him off with a sharp hand motion. "We'll handle security. Team, new objective." As Louis relayed the plan, a familiar presence brushed his mind. Marcus's voice, strained but clear. "Louis, I've got intel on the weapon's weaknesses. Sending now. Information flooded Louis's brain. Schematics, access codes, vulnerabilities. He nodded grimly. Received. We're moving. The team burst from the control room, plowing through waves of Nigene soldiers. Tanya's telekinesis sent whole squads flying. Adna flickered in and out of sight, leaving a trail of fallen foes. They fought their way deeper into the station, Louis's enhanced strength and reflexes allowing him to plow through opposition. Alien blood splattered the walls as they pressed on. Finally, they reached the Xynathium chamber. As the doors hissed open, Louis's eyes widened. A massive war machine towered before them, easily 3 times Louis's height. Its pilot, visible through the cockpit, sneered down at them. "I am Korzak," the Nigian warrior's voice boomed. "Your pitiful resistance ends here." The mech suit's arms transformed into massive energy cannons, filling the air with searing bolts of plasma. Louis and his team scattered, barely avoiding being vaporized. "Tanya, Adna, flank it," Louis shouted. "I'll keep it busy." Louis charged straight at the war machine, dodging blasts and leaping onto its leg. He climbed swiftly, pummeling weak points in the armor as he went. Tanya unleashed a telekinetic assault, metal groaning as she tried to crush the mech's joints. Adna shimmered into visibility atop the cockpit, his monofilament blade carving into the hatch. Korzak roared in fury, the mech suit spinning and thrashing. Louis clung on desperately, finally reaching the cockpit. With a primal yell, he dug his fingers into the metal and pulled. The hatch tore free. Louis reached in, grabbed Korzak, and hurled him bodily across the room. The Nigian slammed into the wall with a sickening crunch. As the mech suit collapsed, Louis's team secured the Xynathium. They set charges, ready to destroy the fuel supply. Meanwhile, on the Nigian flagship, Marcus staggered under the weight of Balos's psychic assault. His teammates lay motionless around him, incapacitated by the alien leader's power. Marcus gritted his teeth, pushing back against the crushing mental force. He dug deep, drawing on reserves of strength he didn't know he had. The two minds clashed like colliding stars. Reality warped around them as pure psychic energy crackled through the air. Marcus felt his consciousness expanding, growing beyond the confines of his body. With a final, titanic effort, Marcus broke through Balos's defenses. The alien's mind shattered like glass, leaving him a drooling husk on his command throne. Gasping, Marcus stumbled to the ship's controls. He input the override codes from Louis's intel, seizing control of the Nigene fleet. Just then, Louis's voice crackled over the comm. "Marcus, we did it! The Xynathium's gone. The planet killer's offline." But before Marcus could reply, an urgent transmission cut in. "Omega Squad, this is Earth Command. Multiple bioweapon-equipped missiles detected, launched from Nigean groundside bases. They'll hit atmosphere in minutes." Louis's voice was grim. "Understood. We're on it." He turned to his team. "You heard them. Let's move. Earth needs us." As they raced towards their ship, Louis knew the hardest part of their mission still lay ahead. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and the clock was ticking.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.